Hello, my name is Dr. David Palmer. I'm a practicing clinical psychologist and psychology professor. I've created this YouTube channel to help parents and couples to promote happiness, wellness, and resilience in their family lives. In this edition, I'd like to discuss the importance of avoiding social comparison while engaging social distancing during this time of COVID-19. I'd like to review the nature of the problem, share a vulnerability we all have, review 5 truths about this issue, and then finish up with a closing thought. You go on social networking these days, and it seems that most families are like the Von Trapps on steroids. Getting up early, doing rigorous workouts, learning French after that, having deep, meaningful conversations, reviewing family videos and creating family collages. Or you might be a professional looking at colleagues boasting about how they finished this book or solved that algebraic algorithm that no one else had previously solved, and so on and so forth. Listen, we all know no one goes around putting on social media the fact that our daughter now sleeps like a vampire, or mom is boiling water because she's concerned that COVID-19 is coming in through the water supply, or dad's had too much vodka to drink. Yeah, let's put that on social media. Listen, it's all a bunch of silliness. There's an important quote by Stephen King that I use all the time. And the quote goes, "Monsters are real and ghosts are real too. They live inside us and sometimes they win." I think what King's arguing for there is that we all battle ourselves. And if my internal battle has anything to do with insecurities about my parenting, depression or anxiety, if I have those kind of battles, and I go on social networking and I see the Von Trapp illusions being projected, then it's easy for me to feel terrible about myself as a parent. So I'd like to share 5 truths about this problem. First is COVID-19 is a terrible dragon for all of us. We're all being clawed by this to varying degrees. Some of us are losing our lives or having the lives of those we love deeply be threatened. Terrible, terrible clawing. Others are experiencing crushing economic changes and a wide array in between. But the fact is the dragon's doing its work on us, and we're all hurting to some degree. Second, once you've seen one family, you've seen one family. My decades of working with families has taught me that I cannot assume anything about the family in front of me based on all the families I'd worked with before. So we're all unique in how the dragon's affecting us, as well as any treasures we may be discovering that lie behind the dragon. Third, we all F up. That's the nature of being in a family. My personal goal as a parent and as a spouse is to do a reasonably decent job 51% of the time. So if by the end of my days I can have hit that mark at least 51% of the time, I did a decent job. Maybe 15-ish% of the time I did a fantastic job. I'll consider myself to have been a success. So we all mess up. And if my internal enemies, back to the Stephen King quote, if my internal enemies are just consuming social media of other people's successes, it's so easy for me to exaggerate my failings and the impact of them on those I love the most. Fourth, I'm going to put in the notes a link to one of my favorite scenes among Bill Murray's movies. In this scene, the context are 2 campgrounds that are engaged in a competition during the summer of teenagers. And the one are the haves and the other are the have-nots. And the have-nots are gathering before the night of a big competition and feeling down about their chances of victory. And Bill Murray gets up as one of the camp counselors and does this long, funny diatribe and truthful diatribe about how none of it matters. It just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter how much, how we compare to other people. Actually, I'll go one further than that. Show me someone who's basing their self-esteem as a function of comparisons, and I'll show you someone who's in a very vulnerable position, and at some point or another is going to be hosed. Because we all, some of the time, don't compare well. And plus, the prize is an empty bag. So watch that Bill Murray video and remind yourself that how you compare to other families, it just doesn't matter. Fifth, just like our psychological wellness is built on a tripod of physical activity, nutrition, and sleep, I believe that our adjustment to COVID-19 as individuals and families is built on a tripod of authentic grieving, loving kindness, and mindful acceptance. In a separate YouTube video, I discussed grieving. It's amazing how often, if we have a choice to make about a behavior to pursue, that choosing the behavior that manifests loving kindness is the correct choice. And this is loving kindness with myself, loving kindness with those in my family. And then mindful acceptance is just being present and accepting whatever faults are in myself or in my loved ones as a starting point. That may not be the ultimate settling point, but to just sort of project an aura of being present and being accepting. So in closing, I would like to propose that we all try to be kind to ourselves these days, realizing we're going to mess up, we're going to hurt, that's okay. I mean, some of us entered this and we thought, okay, week 1, I'm going to do yoga, I'm going to work out, I'm going to, develop that new hobby. And by the second week, we're eating donut ice cream sandwiches. Whatever the case may be, to try to be kind to ourselves. The paradox is that the better we can respond to the dragon, grieve, manifest loving kindness, be present and accepting, the more then we may be able to get some early glimmers of the treasure that all dragons guard. That's it for this edition. Please remember, we are made for love.